Good evening.
Good evening, sis. How are you?
I'm good.
That's good. Good to
Uh,
see you.
you too, you too. And we thank y'all for joining on tonight and for another episode of Love and Relationships.
Yes.
Yes, I've been seeing a lot of Valentine stuff.
Yes. We just celebrated Valentine's Day on
Yeah.
Friday, the love day, as they call it, or day of love.
Yeah, it seemed like it's still going on because it seemed like people are making it a weekend thing.
Right, right,
Um, you know, where they have a lot of love going on in the atmosphere. So
right.
much love in the air. How you doing, Tanisha? Thank you for joining us. And
Thank you.
I just, you know, didn't stay on Facebook too long, but
I
you know,
survived. I
I was about to ask you, did you are you
survived.
were you okay? Yeah.
I
That's a good
was.
thing that you did survive it. So, it's just a day. It's just like
It is.
my husband say it's just 24 hours.
Right, right. And you know what? That's the mindset you have to get. And I'm speaking for the singles that may have a hard time with Valentine's Day and not necessarily celebrating it, but just having it
Hmm.
arrive and you're still not being with someone that you would like to be with, being in that committed relationship, marriage. It
Yeah,
can be a challenge.
it
For
is.
me, it's not that I put so much emphasis on the day because I believe, like many do, that every day is love. You should be showing your significant other, your spouse, love on each and every day, doing those special things,
Amen.
special treatment, whatever it may be special for each other every single day. So that's 365 days of the year.
Yeah.
But it's still something, for someone single and depending on how long it's been, you kind of feel like you're missing out, and
Hmm.
not necessarily, but you do kind of feel like you just kind
Yeah.
of, man, I wish I had somebody to send me a little gram at work or send me just
Hmm.
some orchids because orchids is my favorite flowers. I'm not a rose
Oh.
person, and so, man, can I, because it's just a sweet gesture. But,
Hmm.
hey, I understand that it's 24 hours, like Jeffrey says, and love is still love. God is still love.
Amen.
365 days of the year. And that's we as singles, what we have to really focus on and not get caught up in the hype of the day.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is when it's all boiled down. Everything is overly priced just to get dinner double the amount, then you're dealing with the crowds. And then, for
Oh.
roses, the amount that roses go up to during this time of the year, crazy. So you just have to psych yourself out. You have to just be like, okay, it's not that serious. It's okay. We're going
It
to
is.
survive.
It sure is. So we thank you all for joining us on the Issues of Life platform, and we are still continuing the love and relationship series or segment.
Perfect.
And we're also celebrating Black History Month as well. That's why you see me with my beautiful, beautiful band.
And I'm representing my earrings. Y'all like it?
Yes,
For the Black Queen. Yes.
Lord. Yes, Lord. We are queens all day long. Thank you,
Yes.
Lord. We are, the daughters of the Most High God, and we have to present ourselves that way, no matter what's going on in our lives. We are thankful for our Black history,
That's
and
right.
we're thankful that we are where we are today. There still may be some things that could still be changing or that could be improved, but thank God that we have came a long way.
Yes,
So
we have.
let's
Yes, we
not forget
have.
our Black history. So tonight we're talking about taking heed to
Mm.
red flags while dating. Mm-mm. Yes,
Tu.
yes. And
Mm. This is going to be very interesting.
I know. And the question was is how really the twofold question, how and why should we take heed to red flags while dating? Now, I did put a post in the Issues of Life Facebook page where I said, as the older you get, red flags become deal breakers.
Yes, Lord.
And they should be, because
Yes.
as you get older, you are maturing, you're understanding more, you
Right.
have more wisdom. So it should be a deal breaker at that point, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. We still tend to get into different types of relationship.
Right.
And we will be talking about those type of relationships on next week. But
Mm,
tonight, we're going to talk about how to take heed to red flags while dating. Now, there are some people out there who have different motives for dating.
right.
And
That's
I did
correct.
also, you saw that post that I put in the Issues of Life where I said, be careful about who you date, because everybody is not out there looking for love. Some people out there looking for help.
That's right. That
When I saw that post, I was like, what? That is so true. Some people are really actually out there looking for help.
hello and looking for 10 minutes. If you get my drift.
Yeah, that type of help too. That type of help too, but also help with some bills, help a place for to lay my
Hmm.
head, help with driving your car. I need to get
That's
to
right.
work. This is more convenient. Help with my finances. Some people are actually out there looking for somebody that they can get help from.
That is so true.
And so I looked at that post and I was like, okay, everybody's motives are different. You might be thinking and have this motive that hey, I'm going to go and you know go on this date and see if he's husband material.
Hmm. Yeah.
But he may not be thinking that way. He may not be. Oh, good. You have to make sure that that person who you're talking to have the same motives as you, the
Right.
same goals. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where is this gonna take us? Not so much as you jumping into a relationship fast and in a hurry, because you really don't have to be in a hurry to get into a relationship.
Right. But you need to know if it's worth your time and energy.
Yes, that's the thing. You just
Yes.
want to see if it's even worth your time and energy to entertain this person at this particular season in your life. You know,
Right.
and but
Well,
God gave me. Go ahead, Felicia.
no, I was just going to interject and say, like they say, dating is really collecting data.
It really is.
You got to collect your data. It's just what it is. Two strangers coming together over whatever, cup of soup, a really nice dinner, whatever it may be. You need to collect some data because
Yeah.
they may be so beautiful and gorgeous across that table. I know I'm a teeth person and smile. Yeah, I'm toe up. If you got a beautiful smile and some pretty teeth, oh man. But I know I can't get trapped by that. I got to do some questioning and asking some questions, basically collecting that data.
Yes, you most definitely have to. And so what I was about to say was that God had gave me a scripture from First John, the fourth chapter, verse 1, where it say, "Beloved, believe not every spirit.
Mm,
Believe not every spirit. Try
right.
the spirit, whether they are of God, because there are many false prophets out
That's
in the
right.
world." And I know how some people will probably look at this scripture and be like, "Okay, it's talking about prophets." But really, a prophet is a person who is telling you something that's happening in the future, that's happening in your life at that present
Hmm.
time. But still, I believe that this also pertains to anything else in your life, whether it's you're building a friendship with someone or building a relationship with someone. getting on any type of job or getting into different types of ministries with people, you do want to try those spirits and see if they are of God.
Right.
Because if they are not, then you already know that there's going to be some problems.
Right. Right.
There are going to be some problems. So you that was one of the ways of how you can take heed to red flags because just like Felicia said, you're supposed to be collecting data, not collecting numbers so you can call them for a booty call.
Well, say it. It's the truth anyhow.
You know, or whatever else motive that people
Right.
have, because women motives can be a little different than men, but hey, we both pretty much still have the same goals, whether we want to be with someone and have a relationship and, go somewhere from there in the future. If so, especially if a man is in position to want to
Mm,
be married. Definitely be in the position, but sometimes
yeah.
they don't be in position. But we be looking at the potential instead of looking at what the position they are in at that moment.
Right.
What position is he in right now? Or that's more important. That's another way of taking heed is looking at the position that he is or she in right now. Because potential, baby, it might take you 50 years to meet your potential.
Mm,
I'm just
oh
saying.
my.
And do I want to waste my time? Do I want to wait that long? Like I'm waiting on someone in prison? What?
Ooh,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
And to each his own, but yeah, exactly. That's a great example.
You
Ooh,
know, you'll be sitting up there waiting for that person to get their life together or get to that potential that you're saying that
right.
you believe that there is greatness in them. All of us have greatness in us. But if
That's
that
right.
person ain't tapped into the greatness at the time that you meet them, does that necessarily mean that you are the one who's supposed to stay there
Right.
to plant the seed and water it? You
That's
know,
true.
because you might just be there just to plant a seed, not to do both. Plant the seed and water it, to get that person to the potential or the greatness that you're seeing in that individual.
Right. And I say you have to also, along with that, is, evaluate what it is. If a person
Hmm.
hasn't not arrived yet, depending on what it is, I don't think that's an absolute deal breaker. Even for those of us that are older. But it depends on what it is. If you're saying I'm 42 and I'm trying to be a rapper, then yeah, that's a deal breaker because your time is over.
If
You
you're
should have.
42,
I'm sorry. You should. I'm talking about starting out. Starting out. If you've been in
there
it
are
for a
some
while,
rappers out there who are starting out that late.
I know, and I think they need to give it up. That's not to say that they're not talented. That's not to say that they don't have a gift. But if you're giving your all to that at that age and you have a family, you have to kind of question it because the reality of someone becoming famous, the
Mm-hmm.
reality of someone getting to that level in that industry, the numbers are low. Just like they say, I remember seeing a movie and they were showing all these kids on the basketball court at that famous court in New York. Rikers, something, not the jail, but I forgot the court's name. But anyway, they was just looking at all these kids, great skills.
Wow.
Not 9 out of 10 of them won't make it to the NBA.
Nope.
So you need to have something else. You got to because the possibility of that happening for you, like I said, it just depends on what it is. For me, that's a deal breaker. You cannot be in your 40s just coming out the gate. I want to rap. I got this mixtape. I'm trying to do.
Oh, Lord.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Woo.
Like what? What happened in your
No, that's a
20s?
deal breaker.
What
Mm-mm.
happened in your 20s and maybe your early 30s? What happened? Well, you didn't meet the right people. What happened? And so you got to me, I think now you got to shift gears. Maybe I don't need a rapper. Maybe I need to do something else. Maybe you could still work in the industry, but doing something else. I'm just saying, you have to start looking at it for what it is. The average rapper, and I'm talking about good rapper,
Mm-hmm.
they may be still rapping in their 40s, but they have other things that
Thing
they're
going.
doing because they understand that's going to die eventually. It's just like your greatest basketball, football players. They know their time is not long. You get into your 30s, it's almost time to wrap it up. But it's smart to have your backup plan.
Jumping.
What's
Mhm. It is smart. It
next?
really is. And Tanisha said that that it's okay to have high
Right,
expectations.
and it is.
Because if you how do you know what to expect from a person if you're not setting any expectation?
Right,
You gotta have some standards and some expectations that already have been set. So that way, when something does happen or something come up and surface, you can say, okay, hold up, that's going beyond or under my standards or beyond my expectations. That's not
right.
what I expected. I expected something more than this or better than this, and now, what do I do? Now, I'm not saying the person who is having high expectations that are unrealistic, because there are some women out there who do, and there are some men out there who do have expectations that are just not realistic, or
That's true.
whether you thinking, oh, I gotta have a woman that's short hair, or I gotta have a woman with long hair. Well, those are really not expectations. Those are preferences.
Right.
Some people
There's a difference.
it's a different. Some
Right.
people prefer to have somebody taller than them.
Yeah.
Prefer to have someone that's not wearing makeup. It's just preferences that people have. So you have. I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about having expectations and standards that are already set, so that when you do meet someone, when you see that, hey, they are not anywhere near your expectation, you can sit back and do some evaluation then and
Right.
be like, okay, he doesn't have a job. You know, he may have a job, but he probably making this amount of money, whatever. But that's still somewhere near your expectation. But if he doesn't have a job, doesn't have his own car, and then you should always look at the guy's keys and see if he got some responsibilities. Because they say you can always tell something
What?
about a man by his keys.
Wait a minute. Now that's a new one. I've never heard that.
Oh yeah,
No, man, the keys.
I
Okay.
tell a whole lot about a
Noted.
man with his keys. If you see a man with just one key, that means he doesn't have that many responsibilities.
You don't have a lot going on.
Don't have a whole lot going on. And if he has no key, I'm sitting up and saying, okay, you ain't got a key to a car. If you
But
don't
you
have
don't have a key to a house, apartment,
uh, thank
somewhere where
you.
you turn in the doorknob.
Come on now, keys mean access and
Oh my
also
goodness,
mean
that's a new one. I never
responsibility.
heard that.
You only got one key, dude? Oh, okay, hold on. Let me look at these keys. Don't go on y'all dates asking folks for their keys.
Excuse me, sir. Can you put your keys on the table? I want to see how many you have.
You probably see them when he putting them in the ignition.
And look, girl, then I'm giving it the side eye, like, let me
Uh,
see.
and then if you see too many keys, what does that really mean?
He got too much going on.
What do all those keys go to? I don't know. But that was something that somebody told me a long time ago, and I was like,
Wow. Okay.
really? But
Noted.
you got me. But I'm just saying, look at what they are presenting on the table.
Right.
Um, if they ain't presenting anything on the table, I would be sitting up there thinking something different too. Like, okay, why you ain't presenting anything on the table? I'm the only
Right.
one presenting stuff on the table. I'm the only one with
Right.
things going for myself. No, that's I don't know.
Right.
Some things are just literally upfront deal breakers.
Yeah.
I
And that's
mean,
why I think it's very important, and I've learned this, to have a list available to look at and, look over, because I think over the years that list changes as well. If you've been single for a while, what you may have been, wanting or desiring. that changes. When I was younger, I was very superficial. I had a preference in guys that I like. Now that I'm, my 40s, I'm way past that. you know, I don't, some of that still matters as a preference,
Mhm.
but it's not, it's not at the forefront, and it's definitely not at the top of my list. Not only having that list, but praying over that list, but being realistic with your list as well, even with your preferences. Nothing is wrong with,
Yeah.
I prefer this, I prefer that. Hint for me, hypothetically, well, not hypothetically, for me, I like tall guys. I'm already kind of tall, so I prefer someone taller than I am. Does that
Mhm.
mean I would completely be not open to someone shorter? No. I probably would be more hesitant and reserved about it, but I want to also be realistic because I don't want to pass up someone that might be a really great guy just because he's a few inches shorter than I am.
Yeah.
So you want
Yeah.
to be realistic with that, but I think it's really valuable to have a list. I have mine actually in my
Mhm.
Bible. I keep it in
Mhm.
there. I revisit it at times. And what do I have on here? Am I being realistic? I'm being too superficial. You know,
Yeah.
I know what's top of the list, and then let it flow from the top to the bottom because you need to know. You need to
Mhm.
know.
And really, and when you build a list, it also talks about, it also tells you about yourself.
Yeah.
Because when I'm building a list, it's telling me who I am, what it is that I'm looking for, and what it is that I expect. It's telling, because if somebody were to look at my list, they'll tell me what kind of person I'm being.
Right.
It'll speak to my character. Because if
Yes.
all I got on there is I'm looking for somebody with tall, nice booty, smelling good, cologne, baby, chest all popping up with muscle, then that would tell an
That says a
individual
lot.
that, hey, you're being a little conceited. You're not,
Right.
or it could be a little superficial or shallow
Right.
or whatever. Your list is not, I would say, has goals and expectations on there. Because what about relationship? What about how
Yes.
the person treat people? Because it's not just about you, but how do they treat other people?
Yes.
Because
That
how they
matters.
treat other people, how they handling, interacting with people around you, it tells a whole lot about that person.
Yes,
You
it
have to
does.
take heed to those things just as well. You just can't just look at what's on the surface because believe me, your heart matters more than what's on the outside.
It sure does. Cause see what's on the outside gonna change over time. And now I don't care what amount of surgery you get and whatever you working on, it's gonna change over time.
It is.
What's
It
gonna
is.
matter in the end is definitely what's in the heart.
It is. Tanisha asked, can your expectations change while being in a marriage or
Ooh,
relationship
that's a good
already?
question.
And they most definitely can. Because we're always evolving as a person. We're always maturing. Every year you're supposed to be getting wiser. There'll be some things over the last year you'll probably be thinking, okay, I need to do this better. How can I do this better? I want to work on these things with myself. And then when you're
Mm,
seeing other people doing things, your expectations change. And then you're looking at this individual differently, maybe, or you may be looking at them in another light where it's really involving just you, the one that's changing.
yeah,
Uh, but if your expectations do change, we pray that the other person also don't mind you
right.
change because some people really don't adapt to change very well,
That's
especially
true.
some men. Because they always like routine. If you was this way when I met you, that's what I expect
Right, right.
the whole time we together. But I'm just like, okay, but it depends on what is changing because if I'm getting better,
Right,
then you would think that that person would be supportive and be like,
right.
I'm glad that you have goals now. I'm glad that you want to do this now with your life. Or those are things that we have to grow together in doing.
And that's
Yeah.
crazy because I haven't experienced it, but I've heard of that happening where if someone in the relationship and more so marriage is kind of shifting and changing gears and growing, and it's for the better. They're not leaving their spouse, they're not trying to exclude them out or anything, but they're growing in a way that maybe that spouse is just not at the time. but in the end, it may make them better, or it's just a personal growth. Sometimes it's a personal growth because I feel, and you being a married woman, you know probably can feel this. I feel that even in a marriage, you're still an individual person, even though the Bible does say we are one, and I believe
Yeah,
that. I believe everything about that. But on earth and right here, you're still an individual person. One
yeah,
day, unfortunately, a spouse can leave, and you're still here, and you
yeah,
have to live. So
exactly.
you're still in some way that's one person within yourself. But it's crazy that I've seen that happen though in marriages where there's an intimidation
Oh,
that
yeah,
comes with that. There's pride, ego. Well, and that's both
exactly.
sides. Pride and
That's
ego can
both
go
sides.
hand in hand,
Mhm.
women and men. And I've always thought, wow, it's for the better. So why would there be a problem?
Yeah,
But I've learned that a lot of times it's on the other person and not the person that's actually growing, but it's the other person insecurities.
exactly, exactly. And if that is happening, what do you do when you're married? You have
Mm,
to go to the Lord with that,
yeah,
because only God can tell you what to do, what type of things to get into, what type of strategies to use when you're talking to your spouse or whoever the person that you're dating. Because if you're already married, then that's a different story than just
right,
being in a relationship with someone, because you can decide right then and there that, okay, maybe we need to go our separate ways,
right,
or because if you can't grow with me or support me where I am right now in this space, then maybe we don't need to be together. But that's in a relationship, it's totally different. But when you're married, it's a different dynamic, because then you have to go through the whole court system and all that stuff. So that's a whole nother ball game.
right,
So that's why I say if you're married and you're having different expectations and you're growing, and then there are things that you see in your spouse that you did not may have been paying attention to while y'all were dating, then that's when you have to go seek the Lord and ask Him on what you should do, how you should handle it, because God would tell us. He would give us the instructions. He would speak to us, but we'll have to seek Him and get
right,
in before His face and see what it is that how He wants you to handle the problem.
right, right. Because you definitely want to seek the guidance from the Lord. You want to be
Yeah,
led correctly.
yeah. I feel you can outgrow a person when you meet them. They might have come off as if they were capable of being with you and fulfilling your needs, but then you find out after marrying, they ain't growing with you.
Mm,
And sometimes that does happen. It does happen. Um, but just like I said earlier, you just have to seek the Lord.
right,
Don't get nobody else in your marriage.
right.
Please don't.
I always say, don't go and
Please.
get no cosigners.
Girl, come on now. Please don't. I mean, and when I say nobody, I mean
Right.
nobody. Nobody. I mean nobody. I mean, I may be wrong for saying this, Felicia. I don't know, but I just feel like that's something when it comes to two people being together and married, they have to work it out together first.
Yeah.
I mean, why step out of the comfort of your marriage when both of y'all know each other to a certain extent? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But when you step outside your marriage and talk to people, then that's when you're getting extra
Yeah.
conversation, extra advice, extra resources and tools and strategies. But that might not be what God wants you to do toward your spouse. You see what I'm saying? Because only
Hmm.
God knows your spouse. God knows how that person act, how that person is. He also knows the end zone. He also knows the outcome, the result of
Right.
what will happen later. Only God knows that. He could change next week. He could change next month. But the person who you talk to, they're gonna always remember what you told them. You see what I'm saying? They're gonna always
Right.
remember. I'm like, oh, that's the every time they see that person, they gonna always remember what you told them about that person, even after that person had grown and matured.
That's true.
So I just don't like when other people be in marriages. I mean, that it ain't your business. Like my daughter loved to tell me what her teacher said, MYOB, mind your own business.
And I think a lot of people do it as well. I mean, obviously, I'm single, no experience in that area, but my perception of it is sometimes I think you may get to your wits end with what's going on. You really love the person, you don't want to leave them. You don't
Hmm.
feel that it's worth that, but it's just like fire meets fire, and so to speak, and it's like two brick walls coming together, clacking every time y'all try to communicate. And I think it's a little bit of sometimes we do, or those that are married may go outside of the marriage. I'm speaking with people because you are looking for a co-signer for somebody to say, "Yeah, man, you right," or "Yeah, girl, yeah, you told him right," whatever the case may be. But then I
Yeah,
think also sometimes it's just somebody listening to you, somebody, because we all just want to be heard, right? I mean, we all want to be heard when we're venting, when we are expressing ourselves, we're having a hard time, whatever it may be, we want to be heard. So I think it's a piece of that too. And so you go out on the outside and speak to people that you feel are trustworthy, you feel may have some experience, like someone has been married for much longer years than you have. And it's
hmm,
like, well, how have y'all done it? What's your secret sauce?
yeah,
So I get it from all sides. I think once it gets to a certain place, I'm a advocate of let's get some therapy. Let's go talk to a marriage counselor, because we both at this point need to see it from a different perspective.
exactly.
Our view is a little warped right now, so we need someone biased and well non-biased, excuse me,
Yes.
that can
Hmm.
give us both at the same time a different perspective. Now we'll both receive and be open, that's up to that couple. But I think that
Exactly.
is definitely valuable to do. And once it reached a certain point.
Exactly. And that's what I was about to say, Felicia, that if there is a person that you really do have to talk to, then find somebody non-biased, someone that you don't
Right.
know,
That's going to tell you
someone
the truth too.
exactly, because that's exactly what you need. You need somebody to tell you the truth, and then also to help you with your thought process, because
Right.
sometimes we us women we think things differently than a man does.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
saying. We think totally
Yeah.
different. And if you talk to somebody about your thought process or what it is that you're thinking, especially when you're talking to someone who is married, who understands how it is to be married, and somebody who is non-biased, and somebody who's gonna tell you the truth, and then they
Right.
can help talk through those thoughts and see what's really going on because sometimes those thoughts could be the wrong things that we're thinking.
Right.
And we gotta make sure that we are aligning our thoughts with what God is saying. Number one, anyway.
Right.
But sometimes it doesn't. I'm not gonna lie. It don't work like that up front. In a hurry. No, you get in your emotions for a moment.
I
But
think that always
but
comes first and
that comes
foremost.
first. I
The
mean, it
defense,
always
everything.
everything comes first. But as individuals of God, people who the ones who are claiming that they are followers of Christ and that they believe in the Lord, you're gonna have to get those emotions in check, and then go find somebody to talk to.
Right.
There's
Right.
somebody that's non-biased. After you done talk to the Lord, because I just totally believe that once you find somebody that's non-biased, gonna tell you the truth, it probably ain't gonna be as bad as you think it is.
That's true.
Mm-mm. We got some comments, and let me pull them up.
I like
Can
those.
I just say, only go outside of the marriage to talk if both of y'all agree with the person? I know
That's
that's
good.
good.
Yeah.
That's really good
Wise.
because I mean, yes, it's wise. And then number two, why would you go talk to someone about somebody that is not there to defend themselves?
Right.
I mean,
All one-sided.
all one-sided. It's two sides to every story.
Well,
So when you
three.
go, it's three. Wait a minute, what you get three for?
Your side, his side, and then the truth is in the middle.
Yeah, stop. If we don't believe that the man or the woman could tell the truth, Lord,
Hey, now look
okay,
here.
I'll take that because sometimes we can get a little distorted with the truth.
See what I'm
But
saying?
and I did just say a few seconds ago that them sometimes those thoughts can be a little distorted, and you be
Right.
thinking one
See?
side about what's going on with you, but you ain't about the other person. You probably saying a
Right.
whole lot about the other person, but I ain't saying nothing about yourself. So
Hello.
okay, all right, it's three sides. Okay, that's noted. That's noted, Felicia. For me, it's someone to listen to me, but not very wise. I'm still learning. Maybe we all learning.
Yes, we are.
We all are learning to
Every day.
the ones that are still married. We still learning. It's
I
always
love that. Yes.
something to learn about the other person. Yes,
Yeah.
it's good to go to a marriage counselor or a therapist individually for yourself. And then if you feel, just like Felicia was saying earlier, if you feel like both of y'all need to go together, then y'all can sit down and just talk and see if that's something
Yeah.
that y'all want to do. Um, because it's possible. It can be done. Marriage can be restored.
Yeah, I
Even
believe that. I
even when
definitely believe that.
things happen when that person is not who you thought they were in the beginning. We all mature. We all are
Right.
always changing. Evolving. So you just have to be mindful of your emotions.
Right.
What's going on with you first? Because, like I said, women think different than men. Mm-mm.
That's true. That is
Uh,
true. And you said something about, a statement in regards to Tanisha where, they weren't who you thought. So that ties right into our topic for today, red flags. How to recognize the red flags. What do you consider a red flag? I mean, obviously, as we get older, some of that is just deal breakers. But when you're in the dating scene, because, we got to first go through the dating to get to where you at,
Hallelujah.
which is the marriage. So, how do we, or not how, but what are some red flags? What would you say? I want to hear from you, Tyra. Talk to us and the people here on our talk forum. You being a
I
married
believe
woman.
that those red flags. When I think about um, when it comes to looking at red flags, how would a person who is like for girls, for females, how would a female know that a red flag is in her face if she is a fatherless girl? A
Ooh.
girl who didn't grow up with her dad, a girl who didn't get those talks from her dad about how a man's supposed to treat her, how a man's supposed to handle himself. You see what I'm saying? And so
And
when she
handle
comes
her.
around and she's been with this person, we as females, you number one are nurturers. That's the way God made us. We are
That's who we
nurturers.
are.
And then number two, we love differently than men do. And we want love. We want love. We want validation. We want approval. So when you are dating, I feel like now this is just my opinion. I
Hmm.
believe that women and men both, because there are some men who also want intimacy and who also want love, and he has some insecurities, and then he may have been abandoned by his mother or father, growing up, and so he could have some problem too. But the point I was trying to make is that I believe that we need to check those red flags with ourselves first. Because how am
Mm.
I going to recognize a red flag if I don't know? Because
I
if you
like
don't
that.
know, you just don't know. Because there may have been some things that happen in your life with your parents. Because that's where it first begins, Felicia. I believe that's where it begins with your parents,
I
from your mother and
absolutely
your
agree.
father. But we're living in days and times where both of them are not in the house.
Yeah.
And then we're living in days and times where there's a lot of domestic violence. There's a lot of ways of that love is being portrayed in front of us that is not the type of love
Yeah. It's
of
not
God.
organic love. Yeah.
Exactly. And then it's not the type of love that God gives. It's not the type of
Right.
love that God is showing toward us. And then if you're a person who does not have a relationship with God, you most definitely is not going to know what love's supposed to look like. Because first you need to know the love of Christ. You need to know about God's love because how in the world am I going to know how a person's supposed to love me if I don't know the true one who loved me first? Um,
So that's great. So that means we need to know ourselves
we need to know ourselves
before we try to get tied up in any relationship,
in a
expecting
relationship.
someone to love us a certain kind of way when we don't know how to love ourselves that certain kind of way.
And then
When we don't even know what to look for.
exactly. And then Felicia, if that individual man or woman has their own red flags. What I mean by that is those insecurities, those
Right.
abandonment issues, those trust issues, those that validation and I need approval. I need somebody to hold me and love me because I'm lonely. When you have those type of issues and then you start dating, there is just gonna be a broken person in front of you
Right.
because you're gonna
That's
mirror
good.
your own self. You're not
Woo.
I'm
You
just
attract who
saying.
you are.
Exactly.
You
You're gonna
attract who
be
you
sitting
are.
across from your own self. I'm serious.
Wow.
Because that's all you're going to attract. That's all that's going to be pulled towards you because of the issues that's already in you. But I guarantee you, once you start dealing with yourself, learning about who you are and whose you are, and getting rid of those issues that you have because of the problems that may have happened when you was a child or whatever, or issues that you have with your parents. When you get all that stuff taken care of, then guess what? You're gonna draw a different type of man.
You're
You're gonna draw
absolutely
a
right.
different type of woman. And I know this because I have done it. I have been with somebody who was right there in front of me and who was literally me. And then,
Wow.
and that was before I met Christ. That was before I even gave my life to Christ. And after I gave my life to Christ, I started getting cleaned up, and God was pruning me of these issues and helping me. And I was in the counseling program at that time too. And so I was, going through some purging, baby. I mean, it was, and it hurt, but at the same time, it was helpful because then I started seeing different type of men being drawn onto me because of the changes that I was going through,
I
and
love that.
that's how I end up with the husband that I have today because I'm no longer broken. I was no longer broken when I met him. I didn't have those type of issues where that I consider dysfunction. you know, we don't want to say a lot of people love to say broken, but really it's dysfunction. That's really what it is. But I just feel like those red flags got to be taken care of.
Yeah. And
With
I went through a season where I couldn't figure out why it was a certain type of guys that kept coming into my view. And they had the same type of characteristics. And I'm like, I'm looking at myself and who I
mhm.
thought I was like, that's not me. So why is this type of guy keep coming in my view? Not until some years later did I start hearing you attract, excuse me, who you are. And I thought, what? For at first that didn't make sense. With some clarity and understanding of that and really searching that statement out, I'm like, OMG. And there were some
Mhm.
things within myself I had to acknowledge. I had to not only acknowledge, but now I got to deal with it. And
Yes.
so this is why I say singleness has been a challenge for me, but at the same time, it has been a needed space because there's things within me I need to handle because
Mhm.
I want to be able to completely 100% be aware of red flags, not be, blinded, have blinders on, can't see the forest for the trees
Mhm.
because, I have all these unresolved issues within myself. So you
Exactly.
are absolutely right. That's why the single space, this is our time to get together, man or woman.
Man or
Being
woman.
single is not horrible. And I had to come to that understanding. It is tough. Yes. Is it challenging? Yes. Does it get lonely sometimes? It does. When you
Mhm.
see your friends married and they coupled up, I don't care.
Mhm.
Can I speak my truth tonight? And they getting them some sugar, and you like, man, can I just get a kiss? Like, can
Okay.
we just be honest that we as single men or women go through those moments
Yes, we
because
do.
you just feel that you're longing and you're missing something, but then you have to steal away and you have to deal with the honesty of the truth of who you are. I'm not in a position where I need to be in the dating scene. I'm single, but I'm unavailable.
Yeah.
And I still say I'm in that place. Though sometimes I try to slide out and say, well, no, maybe but then some things I'll be like, no, I'm really not ready. And that's my truth. I'm really not ready. As much as I would desire it and long for it,
Mhm.
my truth is I'm really not ready. And you
Yeah.
know what? It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It is okay. Mhm. It is okay. And I think that a lot of people are not okay with it because they are listening to what people are saying on the outside.
There
It
you
don't, it
go.
don't matter what folks say on the outside. It don't matter what your family say, your friends say, because God don't look at that. God don't look at time. He don't look at age. I
He
mean,
don't.
he
Especially
does
not
not.
time. He don't care about none of that.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's our
So,
stuff. That ain't him.
mm, no, God don't look at all that, and so we shouldn't either. I mean,
Right.
whatever season that you're in, the Bible say learn to be content,
Content.
and the key
There it
word
is.
is learn.
Right.
You
And
learn
that's
to
why
be
we need to be
content.
busy doing something else then.
Exactly.
And more importantly, we need to be doing, busy doing the things of the Lord. But also with our lives, whatever dreams and goals, aspirations we have, let's get busy on that. That'll take up some of that space and time where
It
you focus
will.
on yourself. So when that man does find you, or you find that woman, you're found in
Yes.
a good place.
He
Doesn't
find
mean you're perfect, but you're found in a good
good,
place.
and not only in a good place, but he'll find you working.
Woo, hello,
Who was that?
ain't that?
Ruth
Ain't
that was
what
out
he
there in
was
the
found
field.
working. Look, you made me do my church hand on that.
Woo, baby. Okay, come on now.
Yes.
Find you out there in the field, baby, and he just throwing favor out there when Ruth was out there working. Mm, mm, mm,
Yes.
mm, mm. And that's why I don't understand about single people. They spend all their time and energy moping and longing, and then ain't doing no work.
Yes.
I mean, there's so much work to do.
To do. It is.
It's so much work to do. And first, that work begins with you. It begins
Yes.
with you first, and it begins in you. That's the first work that you should be working on when you're single. And then after that, you start working with other people. You start doing for other people. You start going out there to nursing homes and group
Yeah.
homes, whatever the Lord put on your heart to do.
Yeah.
Because
And
why?
serving other people will
Oh,
definitely do something for you.
it
It will do a
will
lot for
do
you actually.
something.
Yes, it will.
Every single time. That's why the Bible says that that is the second greatest commandment, Felicia. The first one is to love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and spirit. So if after you done that, then the second greatest commandment is to love your neighbor as you love
There you go.
yourself. So when you go out there helping people and you go out there just doing stuff, for other people, especially people who are lonely themselves, people who are in a nursing home who may not be getting visits, and young people who are in orphanages and stuff like that, you forget all about your problem. But guess
Right.
what? But guess what? While you're doing those things, a man could be in your path while you're working. Or a woman
Mm.
could be in your path while you're working. That I just don't see a man or woman coming while you're sitting at home,
It,
longing and
listen,
pining and moping.
listen. Ain't nobody coming knocking on the door. Hey, is there anybody single in here?
Come on, Felicia. Come on, man.
Nobody doing that.
Ain't nobody doing that. I just don't understand why people are being so unrealistic when they're talking to single people. That
Right.
man, people ain't gonna walk up to you at the grocery store and say, "Hey, are you single?" Now, I might even take that back. Somebody probably will be bold.
Look, why you sitting there, thumping your watermelon or picking them grapes? See you at the
Ooh, Lord,
produce stand.
it could happen that way. I'll
It
take that back.
could.
It
It
could.
could. All at the produce stand, and he like what he see,
It
or
could.
she like what she see.
I'm serious. Because you might be at the grocery store buying some groceries for somebody else who need it. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? But you're being busy doing something for somebody else. Somebody could come across your path. But while they're doing that, if they do come across your path, you still gonna have to try the spirit by and see if they
That's
are
right.
God.
That's right.
Because when you are doing good with yourself and then you are doing good for other people, oh yeah, come on now. Some booger bears do come out the woodwork.
Oh, oh my
Some
gosh.
distractions do come out and
Say
they do
that.
come forward. I'm just saying. They do. The wolf be all dressed up so neatly, baby, with sheep
Said the
clothes.
wolf.
Oh, yes. And you just sitting there minding your own business. And then here comes somebody exactly like the one that you put on your little
Oh
preference
yeah.
list.
He
And
matched my list.
and then
But
that's
you
the
get the
thing
strap.
about
Oh, he matched my
you get
list.
girl, yeah. You get this sitting up there like, oh, you get so distracted. You sitting up there thinking, oh wow, this is Lord, you done brought somebody and you done took care of everything that's on this list, Lord. But you still gonna have to try the spirits and see
That's
if they
right.
are of the Lord. I'm
That's
sorry.
right.
Because there are some distractors. There are some people out there who are looking for help.
Right. And all attention ain't good attention.
No, it surely isn't. You still got some. We got some coming. Whatever you see in someone you're dating will be intensified after you get married. Wow. Won't it?
Hmm.
Whatever you see in someone when you're dating will be intensified
Ooh,
after
that's
you get
good.
married. So that's even good or bad.
Yeah, that's all the way
So if
around.
you see something bad in a person or those red flags, it'll be intensified. Or if you see
Wow.
something good, it'll still be intensified after you get married. Because I know some I have heard one lady say, "Oh, he's gonna be different after I marry him. After I say I do, he's gonna be different.
No.
He's gonna be different."
No.
No,
No.
mm-mm. No, not true. Jeffrey said it's always best to be true to yourself. Amen.
Yes.
Amen. We can only go before the Lord with honesty. And sometimes we do need to go before our own self in honesty. Because that's what's going to help you. I agree. Timothy said, and even in a marriage, is it okay to still work on yourself? Not saying to act single, but to continue bettering yourself and healing and learning and thinking of yourself as well. Or is it too late? Must everything be done as a whole?
Good question.
Just like Felicia was saying earlier, when two people get married, they do become one, but you're still an individual. You are still responsible for your own salvation. You can't go to Jesus and Jesus ask you what he's not gonna say, what did your husband do? What did your wife do? No, he's gonna ask you, what did you do? So you can't that's what psychologists call codependency. Two people that's codependent on one another to get through life.
Mm.
But that's not a good marriage. That's dysfunction. So you have to do things individually on your own. Better yourself individually and also work on your own salvation. And allow space for the other person to also work on themselves individually as well as work on their own salvation. You gotta allow space for them to do it. You can't just be, coming in into the house expecting them to be a certain way at a certain time. You just can't. The Bible says love is long suffering, it's patient. So while you're bettering yourself, make sure there's always space for the other person to do the same. Because just like Felicia was saying earlier, some people get intimidated. But it's not so much intimidation. It might be that they're looking at you and they are regretting or they might be feeling guilty about the fact that you're getting ahead and they are not. So it's just so many issues that a person could be going on inside
Yeah.
them. But that's why you gotta have communication. You gotta
Right.
always talking and always allowing that person to have that space to
Yeah.
tell you and express their feelings.
Because I
Um,
don't think you ought to be going off on a tangent on your own anyway. If you're in a marriage and I'm just gonna go over here and do this, and the other person like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? I think that there should be some open lines of communication about what you feel that you're needing and what steps you may need to take to get to wherever you're trying to go.
yeah.
That actually ties right into a comment I see here from an Amanda Brown. I think this is so smart. It's so good.
I believe both people should constantly seek to be the best of themselves. I think that should happen, even if both people ain't doing it together. But as you grow and stay humble, yes, don't mistake growth for superiority. And that's what I was saying about making
Yes.
sure that you save space because that is humility. Humility means you give space for other people to become that person that they could they I really believe that they do have the desire to change, but it was something about how someone told me a long time ago that when you better yourself and you get yourself saved, then the other person you're gonna draw the other person to Christ too. So sometimes it happens that way, sometimes it doesn't. But you can't put your focus on what the other person is doing because then it's going to become where that person going to be looking at you like you always on my case. You always looking at me different. You looking down on me and all that stuff. And that may not be even true. I bet that may not even be even true. And then Amanda said, don't mistake growth for superiority. That means the other person shouldn't be thinking that growth is superior. Or you're more superior to me. I'm inferior. And then also we have to make sure that we're not making them feel that way too.
Right.
It takes,
Right.
it takes work, to make sure. And that's what love is. Love
Yeah.
is going to make sure there is room to grow. That's what love is. But if both of y'all love each other, then it should be a smooth transition. But if it's not, then somebody has an issue going on the inside of them, and that's when you have to communicate it. You have to communicate and say, "Look, I'm a little jealous." Come on, let's be real. But see, that's the problem. We don't want to be real with the other person. We don't want to say, "Look,
Yes.
I'm a little jealous. Are you doing this? You doing that? I see you doing that. I see you doing this." And you always happy. What? But see, that's when you should be going to the person and say, "What is it that you doing?" So I can get some of that too.
Right. Right.
but
I want to smile like you.
but I'm like, wait, look at Cain and Abel. If you really want to break it down, look at
Wow.
Cain and Abel. Cain didn't look at it as, "Ooh, what is Abe doing? I need to go and talk to him and see what it is that I can do to make sure God receives my offering." But
Mm.
he got jealous. He let his emotions get the best of him.
I mean,
And
complete
that's
best.
not love. And that's not love.
That's
Love is
right.
always the foundation. Always. I got some people that pop up. My mom pop up and say, "Hello, hi, mama. How you doing? Hope you having a good evening." And I had another comment out here. Elisa said they do come out of the woods or the forest. The wolves and sheep clothing, they do come out. They sure do. And they be dressing so clean and smelling so good. But
Hmm.
I'm telling you, you still gotta try those spirits by the spirit, right? You gotta try to see if it's of the Lord. And Alyssa said, I thank the Lord showed me that my husband was designed for me for over 20 years. He is no longer here, but was meant for me. Thank you for sharing that, Alyssa, because God will show us. And sometimes he showed the woman before the man, and sometimes he showed the man before the woman. Hey, but God is the one who should be the matchmaker.
Right.
That's what the whole bottom line is. God should be the one who is the matchmaker in your life when you're trying to date and all that stuff. Because we're gonna get in the way. We're gonna get in the way.
Lord.
We get in the way every single time. Come on now. We'll be thinking about this while we sitting there talking to that person. And when you really shouldn't be thinking about that at all.
Mm,
I mean, we're getting away. But at the same time, if you have somebody that has the same mindset as you, like there are some Christian ladies who are looking for Christian men. There are some Christian men who are looking for God-fearing women. But everybody who claiming to be God-fearing are not
I
just
laugh in total agreement.
no, they're not.
That is right.
No, we all are um, human. We all have
Right.
emotions. We all have will. We make our choices. We doing things, and then we all have issues on the inside of us that you're not even picking up because you have them yourself. Man,
Right.
you want
Right.
to have that spirit of discernment, and you also have to be always on your game when it comes to
Right.
dating people and talking to people. And now
And
that go
don't
ahead.
get but don't get blinded because oh he in church or she in church. Please don't. Just like you said, and I have to reiterate that we are still humans. Humans dwell in the church.
Okay, they
Humans
sure
dwell in the
do.
church. So that means imperfect people
Imperfect.
dwell in the church. So don't get caught and trapped in that. Well, he's saved, so I know he got no.
Mhm.
Everyone that's in that church does not belong to you, and you should not be connected to
Come
them,
on now, come
whether
on.
it's
That's
a
the key
woman or a
word. They
man.
don't belong to you.
Yeah, so yeah, I learned that a long time ago. Don't be
Woo!
blinded by that.
Okay.
They said
Everybody ain't meant to
watch
be
actions.
around
That's what
you.
you do.
Mm, mm.
Actions will tell a lot. A conversation
But
will
tell
tell a
her,
lot. And I was sitting here, and as we was talking about this, I thought about this a movie that was, turned into a movie from a book, and it was for color girls. And I always think about
okay.
that one storyline with the one girl that was the dancer, and the guy that I guess he was a friend. I don't know who he was, but she was so, in my opinion, infatuated with him, and so
Mhm.
she talked the entire time. And he just, he just wanted to hear from her. He just wanted to just
Mhm.
let her talk. And she's just going on and
Yeah.
on. And she never asked him questions. And if she did, it was very cut and dry answers. And he ended up raping her.
Mhm.
He wanted her to cook for him. She allowed him to come to her house,
Yeah.
and he ended up raping her on her floor. And
Yeah.
I always looked at that scene, and to this day, that entire movie is hard for me to look at. But that scene has
Yeah.
always been like, wow, wow, we gotta be more aware and not get so caught up in the moment and get caught up in the guy or the woman because he had an ulterior motive. He had an
He did.
agenda.
He did.
He was a rapist walking the street and had gotten away with it many times before. But because she never asked questions, all she did was just talk about her dance and the girls and herself. And he was just taking
Yeah.
it all in with a plan the whole time.
Yeah.
We have to be smarter.
Yeah. And that's why I was saying earlier, allow both people to put something on the table. He wasn't putting anything on the table. He wasn't
Nothing.
saying nothing. He wasn't putting
Nothing.
nothing on the table. I mean, just because a person doesn't talk, you still need to listen to that language as well because that is
Yes,
language
because
too
that's
for a
talking.
person who doesn't talk. What is that
Right.
person not saying? A person who is doing so much talking, what is that you're not saying too? You
Yeah.
know, because the thing that you're not saying is just as important as the thing that you are saying before my face. Because
Right.
the communication is how it's like an open door to me. Communication. It's like an open door where I can see what's inside of you through your
Mm-hmm.
conversation. But I have to be on cue on what you're saying because some people don't pick up. Um, you know, I guess I'm trying to say some people have selective hearing. They'll pick and choose things that they want to hear. But really, to be honest, you need to make sure you're hearing everything. Hear everything.
Right. Even the stuff you don't want to hear,
Even
because
the
what
stuff
you
you
don't
don't
want to hear it might be crucial to your life.
It is exactly, and conversation is so important.
It is.
The body language just as well. Just listening to looking at their faces, their expression, the way they scratch and the way they move. All that are key. All that are ways of how you
Yeah.
can pick up on a person's spirit, a person agenda or whatever. I believe that we all should be cautious.
Yeah.
With whoever that even
Yeah.
includes friends, people who you have in a relationship with. Just like you said, we're all imperfect people.
That's
And hey,
right.
good and evil are out there in the world. Don't be walking around here like there's no evil because there is. There
You
is.
better believe it. You better
There is.
believe it. And to be honest, personally speaking, it's worse.
In today's time, it sure is.
It's worse. Yeah.
Like Ken Andre said, just because both of y'all in church doesn't mean y'all are equally yoked. Amen. Even though the Bible does talk about don't be unequally yoked.
Yes.
That's why I was talking about Felicia said everybody don't belong to you. Everybody don't belong in your circle either.
Right.
Everybody don't have to be in your circle.
That's right.
Jesus didn't have everybody in his circle.
You don't need to be connected to everybody, and you're
Uh,
not meant to be.
don't have to be. You sure don't. You right about that. You don't have to. You don't mean to be. Yes, amen. Y'all are on point tonight. Thank you for Tanisha. Thank you so much for being transparent on tonight and sharing your question, Tanisha. We do appreciate you. And
Always.
I pray that you are being blessed with what we have said on tonight because we done went over an hour.
Oops. Oops.
Good.
You know how we do.
I know
But it's good.
it's good. It really is. It is a
And
much
it's
needed
valuable.
conversation.
It's valuable.
It's a much needed
Yes,
conversation.
it is.
And so, I would say the most key thing that you could take away from this and the conversation that we talked about, because we did talk about a whole lot of things, is that when you're looking at red flags, look at the ones that you're having first, uh,
Mm,
so that you can be able to recognize red flags,
that's
because
good.
we all are having we are attracting people of ourselves basically. So be careful. Candace said, can't let everybody eat at your table. Amen. Amen. Even the Bible says that.
Yes.
That's in Proverbs. When the scripture is talking about, so as he thinks, so is he. That means
Easy.
that he could be feeding you, but his agenda is different. Because whatever he's thinking, that's what he is. So you can't let everybody eat at your table. So we're gonna wrap it up on tonight, and we thank you all for being joining us on tonight.
Yes, we appreciate you all.
Yes, we appreciate all of you, and please share and please love. Put those hearts on this live, and if you have any type of question that you want to ask of me and Felicia, you are so welcome to post those questions in the Issues of Life Facebook page, or you can inbox it to me, and we'll make sure that we answer those questions next
That's
week
right.
when we talk about um, unhealthy and healthy relationships.
Mm,
Because there are some toxic relationships that we are engaging in, and that we need to, I would say, get rid of them. Because whatever you have toxic in your body don't operate
ooh,
properly. It don't function
mm,
properly, does it?
mm.
So some people go on a fast sometimes to give the body a break, to also to release toxins and the liver and the liver. I'm sorry, the liver and the bladder and all that, and plus your intestine. When you go on a fast, it helps your body. It helps you give your body a break from food and processing food and all that stuff. So it's the same way with your relationship.
That's right.
Um, some relationship needs to be detoxed. I would say, especially when you know that they are not healthy for you.
Right.
Um, even when you're on your job, there are certain types of relationships that people have among coworkers. Uh,
Right.
you know, we just need to recognize healthy and unhealthy relationships, and also know what love is. So we'll be
That's
talking
right.
about First Corinthians 13th chapter on this week
All right.
because love does have a certain look because love is an action word.
That's right.
Just because somebody say I love you, don't mean that they actually love you. Because anybody can say them. Oh, I love you,
That's right.
Felicia. How you doing, Felicia?
And that's thrown around so loosely.
So loosely. But in my heart, I'm doing something totally different. I'm saying
Right.
something totally different. I'm doing something totally different. So, love is an action word. So we'll be talking about that on next Sunday. And y'all come on back
Come
next
on
Sunday
back
at 7:30
now.
p.m. Central Standard Time. And we thank you all and we pray that y'all have a wonderful night and sleep
Good
well.
night,
Good
everyone.
night, everybody.
Be blessed.